Thanks, boss, for the introduction. Dear audiences, my name is Kazem Bani Hashem. I'm a postdoctoral researcher in education and learning science, and today I'm going to talk about using peer feedback as an effective instructional strategy to improve students' argumentative essay writing. Our team consists of 3 people. We have Omid Nouruzi, Associate Professor from Education and Learning Science Group as the project leader. We also have Harm Beemans on board as the project advisor, and also I'm working in this project as the main executor. So the argumentation is a common but also critical activity in higher education. In general, argumentation refers to the process of using different reasons in a systematic way to support your action, your theory, your topic, or your idea. In higher education, teachers expect students to be able to critically argue their reasons and provide logical reasons on scientific controversial topics. So the argumentation is an important and also critical factor for success in higher education. Argumentation happens in different disciplines. For example, in social science and psychology, some scholars believe that kids should play game because it helps them to be a problem solver, or it helps them to enhance their memory. But also on the other hand, some other scholars believe that playing game may cause social disconnection, may cause aggressive behavior among kids, or also in other different, such as food science. There are a controversial topic about genetically modified organisms. Some people disagree and some people agree with it. In higher education, normally students practice their argumentation by writing an argumentative essay. Teachers normally give students a topic, a controversial topic, and ask them to write an argumentative essay about the topic. But I'm afraid not all students are aware of what are the elements of high-quality argumentative essay writing. So, according to the literature, the good argumentation consists of introduction on the topic. It also contains a position in favor of the topic. It contains arguments and also justifications about the topic. Which justifications, I mean that giving scientific facts, references to support your argumentation. And also it should contain counter-arguments to see the others out of the box, what other people think. And also justifications for counter-arguments, and finally responses to those counter-arguments and making a conclusion. So this is the elements for high-quality argumentative essay according to the literature that, as I said, I'm afraid not all students are aware of that. So what we do expect in higher education, we expect teachers to go one by one, provide feedback for students, but just imagine a class, an online class with 100, 200 students. Is it possible for a teacher to go reading single essays and provide peer feedback? It in fact causes lots of workload, and it is almost, due to high workload, it is not really feasible. So what do we suggest is giving feedback, which could be used as an effective instructional strategy to improve students' argumentative essay writing. But the point about peer feedback is that not all students know what to say and how to say. So this is the question about the feedback, that giving a good quality feedback requires skills. And that's why scholars suggest that peer feedback should be supported. That's why in our project we introduced our online supported peer feedback tool. So according to the elements of high quality argumentative essay writing, which those 8 elements, we created guiding questions, which contains mentioning whether these elements, for example, introduction, is mentioned in the essay or not. And also we ask students to give motivational feedback, which contains words such as, you have done a good job, I really enjoyed reading your essay. This kind of feedback helps students to ease the atmosphere between the feedback provider and feedback receiver. And also identification. What is the problem in the essay? And why this is the problem? Because in some cases, if we don't explain to the feedback receiver why this is the problem, he or she may not even accept as feedback. And also in the end, recommendations and what are the suggestions for your peer to improve his or her essay. So these are the key elements for a good feedback that we create in a rubric for students, and they use it to give feedback for their peers. So when we have this peer feedback ready, we created a module in Brightspace which contains 3 weeks. For the first week, we asked the students to write an original essay. For the second week, we asked the students to give this peer feedback tool to give feedback to their peers. And finally, in the third week, we asked students to revise their own original essay based on the feedbacks they have received from peers. When we have these modules ready, we embedded these modules in 5 different courses at bachelor and master level. For example, food science, social science, environmental science. And why we run this module in different courses? Because we wanted to see that whether it is possible to use this tool in different courses on a large scale or not. And in the end, we asked students in terms of their learning satisfaction, whether they were happy with this module or not. So now let's talk about the results. For the peer feedback performance, in general, we are happy to see that all the students in their feedback, they use all key elements, such as the motivational feedback, constructive feedback, cognitive feedback. However, there are rooms for improvement. Still, although, for example, for motivational feedback, we see that the large number of, it contains a high quality, like until the number 2, which means that it's a really good number for the motivational feedback. While on the other hand, for identification and for justification, still there are rooms for improvements. In terms of argumentative essay writing, our results for the first year showed that all the students in all different courses made an improvement from original essay to the revised essay, which indicates that our peer feedback tool was useful to improve students' essay writing. And when we compare in different education levels among bachelor and master students, we can see that again, there is an improvement from original essay to the revised essay. However, the master students did a better job from the beginning, and the reason for this good job could be related to the master students. They have more experiences, they have more knowledge how to write an essay, so it could be a reason for such finding. And also when we compare among different courses, we again can see that in all 5 courses we made an improvement. Students made an improvement. However, in some courses, from the beginning, students did a good job. For example, as you can see, the red line, which belongs to the social science group, has the highest performance, students in this group, which maybe, again, one interpretation could go back to the fact that in social science, maybe students are dealing with more controversial issues. And in terms of the learning satisfaction, in general, students were happy with this module. So as you can see, the bar chart for overall satisfaction is close to the 4, which indicates satisfaction. However, for the ease of the use of the module, we can see the highest number, which means that students found this module easy to use and not really complex, which is good. So, and then let's talk about the real added value of this project. What does really brings to both teachers and students? First, as our results showed that this tool can be used for improving students' argumentative essay writing, which means that if you are a teacher, if you are dealing with the argumentation, you can use this tool. The second one is that our experiences showed that students are really active in the process. They provide feedback, they receive feedback, they read the essays, they reflect on the feedback. So these kind of activities represents the active engagement in the learning process. And also, that since we provided a structure for students to give feedback, we believe that it helps students to improve their feedback competency. And also the good thing about this module is that it doesn't really need intervention from teacher sides. Based on our experiences with 5 courses, which we had, students simply can follow these modules by themselves. And since peer feedback can be used instead of teacher feedback, especially on a large scale for like 200 students, we believe that using these tools can help students to decrease their workload. In the end, I would like to thank you for your attention, and please let me know if you have any question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. So there's an opportunity now for questions. We have about 5 minutes for that. Who can I welcome to ask the first question? There's also an opportunity to do this online. I have a very fancy tablet where I get these questions. I don't see any questions from the online audience yet, so I'm relying on the audience here. Who can I give the word? Tidi in the back.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for a nice presentation. I was very intrigued by this. You showed that you have investigated the different types of sciences, environmental, food, etc. And I was wondering if there was any difference between those groups of students in those sciences, if they reacted differently. Because you made one remark that intrigued me, that social sciences has more controversial issues, and I'm not sure I agree with that.
Yeah. Thank you for your question. This is a really nice question. I would say that in different courses, the results showed that students in general made an improvement, but there is also a question about what does really, if the content does really matter when you provide an essay. Since our argumentative peer feedback tool relied on the structure of the essay instead of the content of the essay, we would say that using this tool in different course domains can be helpful, even though it does not really matter what are the topic, because the tool is basically relied on the structure of the essay, not the content of the essay. And also about the social science, that was just one interpretation and it could be wrong.
Ken.
Yeah, maybe to ask Ken Gill. I mean, I worked for 15 years in the UK university system before I came to Wageningen. What really struck me here was how numerate students were compared to the UK system, but how poor they were at writing essays, actually, because they get, certainly in the natural sciences, they get very little practice in essay writing. So I really applaud you on your initiative, but I do think on the natural sciences, the whole idea of putting up constructive arguments in an essay is not explored particularly well in our education. It's something that we really should strengthen. So just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, thanks for you.
Want to respond to that?
Yeah, it's a comment and I also agree with that. I think in natural science, we don't really focus on the controversial topics as much as we do in maybe in social science and psychology. And the main reason, not the main reason, but one reason could be related to the fact that we have more, let's say, ethical or the social dilemmas in the humanities, rather than the facts, the scientific facts in natural sciences. That could be one reason maybe for that.
Yeah, I think that's a bold statement. Yes, sure. Microphone, please, here in the front. Sorry, we have to wait for the microphone, otherwise people online can't hear it. So.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I enjoyed it very much. My name is Marianne Mak. I would like to ask you, how did you develop your tool? Did you use theory to do that? Did you have a theoretical framework? And you proposed, or you told us that the results of your students improve. They are also very satisfied. But I was wondering, did you also, expand theory a little bit with your study? Could you say something about that?
For sure, yeah. That's actually a nice question, and I would say that our theory our peer feedback tool was built both on research and literature, the theory, and also the practice. So I don't know whether you are familiar with the Toulmin's theory in terms of the argumentation. And we have what we did, which actually this tool, we did look into the literature, what was the argumentation quality, and what in different studies and theories, they looked for the core elements of the good argumentation, and then we wrap all them together and try to, to extract the key elements for the argumentation part. And for the feedback part, we did the same thing. We went through all the studies that has been, not all the studies, but the key studies in the field of peer feedback, and we discovered the key elements for the feedback, and then we tried to wrap them and contextualize them in the argumentative essay writing. So I would say it contains there's actually theory behind this tool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We have to leave it at this. Thank you very much, Kazem, again for your nice presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.